Hey everybody, it's Exis Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, along with Mopars.com. It's Saturday evening, a pretty nasty looking storm's coming in. I'm going to try to crank this thing out. So sync's not my strong suit, but we'll see what we can do. This one is kind of exciting, not necessarily because of the items. If you're a veteran viewer of the channel, you'll be familiar with the items, but you won't be familiar with one of the perks now associated with the items, and that's what we want to cover. So, if you are a fan of Wiha, of course we used to pick those up. That's one of the, really what prompted my first ever purchase of KC tool was Wiha. I was trying to find something, the Kleins at the time, the number 2s were like soft, absurdly soft, and looking for a solution. That's one of the places I turned. That's how we found KC Tool. I kind of vouched for KC Tool by finding a German tools review video, and the rest is history. But essentially, I think probably one of the last videos we have, a dedicated Wiha haul, would be a similar product in a foam tray. That is currently something I can't show you because it's locked up at work, and I ain't going there on a Saturday at 8. So what we're going to do is throw this down because, as you know, KC Tool no longer retails Wiha, so we simply buy direct. But included in my package was this beautiful sticker, sort of a card, a thank you if you will. It says thank you for choosing Wiha tools, because the ad there's up there in Monticello, Minnesota. And then right here is what you care about. You can lift that off and stick it somewhere. So always cool to get something thrown in your order. And as I mentioned, that's one of the big reasons that we purchased this. And this right here, very nice white box from Wiha. You can see the nice branding on there. If we spin this around, this is in fact what we picked up. Item number 53390, and you're going to see 5-piece MicroFinish screwdriver. So MicroFinish. Is that the Wiha red and black, right? Soft. Ooh, I love those handles. No, this is the SoftFinish. And you're thinking, well, what in the world was MicroFinish? Was that those plum ones? The purple drivers? And that is 100% the case. The one that I have handy here for testing that's never been used on anything and been here a long time is this guy. And this is sort of where the MicroFinish excelled, was like extreme heavy duty, right? So you've got your Phillips number 2, you got the branding, again, hex bolster, same classic machine tip, you got the striking cap, lots of stuff to love here. And the thing is, if you're thinking like, I think I've seen you bring those in, you know, more frequently than that, what's the catch? Refresh my memory. This driver right here, also never used for anything, is for testing. You can tell it's old because of the white font on all of these, right? And our most recent haul from Wiha was a complete set of these in a foam tray that went to work. We got a stupid good buy on it. This one dates back to 2018. One of the greatest things about Wiha is right here on the front side, you've got made in Germany, and then if we spin this around, you'll see that circle. It's got a number in it, and in this case it's the number 18. That is the year of manufacture. So if you're sitting there, if you inherit some of these, if you see some at a, you know, flea market, garage sale, estate sale, if you just have some and you're like, how old is that set? Now, that's not necessarily when you purchased it, right? This could have been made in 2018. We might have bought it in 19. The vendor might sit on certain drivers, and maybe it's 2 years past. But you at least know when the tool was manufactured. Gives you a rough idea. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking like, no, I think I remember you doing something else with the purple. Well, here's what we would have done with the purple. I sort of have a hodgepodge set here. And this is something, again, because of the white, you can tell it's a little older. But that's some stuff I threw together so I could get some seat time with these. Again, testing doesn't do me any good like what I have planned testing-wise. Doesn't do me any good if I've used these for 4 to 6 years when we start a test against, say, another driver that's brand new, right? It's not a fair comparison. So what I do in the background, as you know, we have a ton of screwdrivers, and some of the screwdrivers that I kind of demo and won't be used in like an official test, but will be real world subjects, are these right here. And the number of screws that this guy has turned is insane. This is all black. It's turned a lot of like trim screws and stuff. I'm talking automotive, you know, and necessarily not, don't think trim like hideous side paneling on your 80s Chevy. Think trim screw is in plastic trim, dash trim, stuff like that. To this day, every time I grab this, if I put a screw on it, it will still hold it. It is that good. The slotted, just kind of an assortment. I use one of these all the time. You can actually use either of the two smaller sizes. They are perfect for popping the clips off of Ernst socket boss rails. So they're all here, and then somehow, like, one of the early things we brought in was this. Again, kind of for testing, I thought, just to kind of showcase this. At the time, I was like, you know, man, you know, don't spend a ton of money on this. Get something unique and different that'll offset it. And I had a need for like a long 8-inch driver, and that's like, okay, yeah, I can justify that. And since then, things kind of spiraled out of control, but that's why that was brought in. And you think, okay, cool, well, what's the deal? If you're demoing this set here in your shop, you've got your ones for testing locked up and set aside somewhere. You say the foam tray. I remember you bringing in the foam tray, you know, for work. How are those doing? Well, they're doing great. Two of them seem to never leave the lathe. I made a point to try and use the biggest slotted. That is a big set. I tried to use the biggest slotted on this clamp I always have to deal with, 2 clamps actually, and it was too big, so that was kind of a buzzkill. The other two that would have fit it really well are the ones at the lathe, so I just went back to the bit, and like I said, it's a hodgepodge weird deal, but you just have to trust me. I've got some drivers we've never turned a screw with that are being preserved for testing. I've got some that are, you know, in use in various locations, and it all, behind the scenes, I know what's going on. So that's all I can tell you. But behind the scenes here is what's behind this layer of cardboard. You're thinking like, okay, well, if you have these here demoing, like, and you have the SoftFinish extra heavy, I don't understand where you'd be going with this. Well, let's take a look at what this is. Very simple. This is very aesthetically pleasing to me. It will even be more aesthetically pleasing if this is all executed like I hope it is. Sometimes I get a mixed bag and it's very frustrating. This is not a mixed bag. This is awesome. So these kind of look pinkish through the camera. If I turn my head over here, they seem like the classic plum. Let's just grab Mr. Phillips here. What do you think? Same color? Seems to be. Again, these aren't like a plum crazy purple. They're not like a magenta, but they're sort of somewhere between those two, leaning towards purple. What I was excited about is this. You know, if I come back here, all these drivers, the MicroFInish always had the white font. Doesn't really like look in place, doesn't have the big branding. It was just like the hex logo. They've changed this. I'm not sure if I have one handy that has the new red, you know, like white and red type of a thing. These micro drivers do. Pico finish. So used to, you know, that would be white, it's red. Minor branding enhancements, right? I personally prefer that. They did it with insulated all across the board, so they've done very well in my opinion. I can't believe I don't have one of the newer ones here. Anyway, that aside, this is what we've got now. I personally much prefer this over the red and white back here. You know, in terms of this being color coded, I like that, and I certainly prefer this over this. Okay, it's just personal preference. Now, where these differentiate themselves is here. One of the great things Wiha does right here, if you're like, well, what is that size? That looks like a number 1. You're like, oh, nope, it's a number 2. You got an identification. Now, if we come back over here to the striking cap, okay, this is a number 2. We don't have an identification because we've got a striking cap. This set here will kind of complement this set. And if you're like, I don't know if you would have had to have done that, totally agree. Or you get by, I've got a nice beater set. The Channellock Code Blues, that was a really old video. I kind of got them as like a, let me check them out type of a thing way back in the day. Those have actually been really good, especially in like a beater roll. But these I'm very familiar with. I'm very familiar with their extra heavy duty, and the one thing that really sets these Wihas apart, and I'll be honest, it's not likely I'll use the 1 or the 2 Phillips as often I'll use these, is that, alright, this is a very, very expansive striking cap. Typically with a striking cap, you see either just the tang come up on its own, sort of like a Felo Wood handle driver. In fact, if I can do this without knocking anything over, that's what we have here, right? This is totally a striking cap. It's kind of leather reinforced so you don't splinter the wood as soon, but that's compromises a striking cap for them. Right here, speaking of Felo, you see this one in videos all the time popping stuff off. Now they've kind of phased out. This is the, in my opinion, the better stuff. It's not as soft, but it doesn't attract dust. Phased it out, unfortunately. But it sort of looks like a demon eye, spider eye, or a wasp eye, the new yellow ones. That's a pretty generous striking cap surface here on the Felo. The Weras, which my most used one is at work, and I don't believe it'll be coming back, they're also pretty generous. Gives you a nice flat striking area. If we come in the Gedore, which this one's broken, but it's also pretty generous. The thing none of them have in common, here is a broken trilobe from Witte. Right here, do you see how, like, if you're not accurate, you're going to hit the body of the driver? Same thing with the Gedore, same thing with the Wera, same thing with the Felo, certainly the Felo wood handle. You don't mess with this. Unless, I mean, unless you hit your hand, okay, like, you're an idiot, you know, and you hammer yourself, you're distracted and you hammer yourself, you're not missing that cap. Like, there's nowhere else to go. You either hit it square or you get it on an edge. You're making contact with metal with the Wiha. I've not seen another driver quite like that. The Stavillas would be similar to the Witts, but I don't think I have any other brands sitting here handy to show you. There's a PB Swiss buried. It's kind of a hybrid between this and a Wera. This is as far away from me as it could possibly be. And what I mean by that is it has the generously sized, it actually has a, if you use this as a striking cap, that's going away. The Channellocks did the same thing. It's pretty generous, but again, it doesn't offer much material. I mean, look at that beefcake there on the Wiha. So if you have a complaint there, or you're, oh buddy, you don't even want to know what's about to fall over there. But if you had a complaint with striking caps, you constantly find yourself like beating up the back end of your handles with errant blows or something, and it may not be you, maybe it's buddies, maybe it's coworkers or employees. This is about as foolproof as you could do. I mean, the only upgrade past this is like we come in and what do? We have to make this whole bottom end of the handle, you know, a giant chunk of steel to accommodate idiots. I don't know how you nerf it down any more than they've executed it here. So number one, we've got that. Number two, we've got the improved enhanced branding. Again, personally for me, it's a huge upgrade over that. I just aesthetically find this more pleasing. You'll also note, you're like, well, Wiha always had that wide screen printing, insulated, SoftFinish, MicroFinish. It's always been there. They've done this, they've kind of moved it to the back, they combined it with a part number, which I personally think is nice. They didn't used to kind of have that silk screened and white there. If you're thinking like, oh no, they've done away with this, haven't they? Totally not. This is still made in Germany, right there on the bolster. If we turn this around, you've got the year, and as you can see, hopefully, we've lost our white background down there. This is 23, right? Yes. 23. So these are new, and that's why they look this way. Past that, what's going on? Obviously, impeccable striking cap, which, yes, it's going to get beat up, but it's very, very, very generous for people that can't hammer squarely or miss routinely. You've got the same basic ergonomics of the SoftFinish, so if you have the red driver, maybe you have Wiha's measure up, and you're like, man, I really love the way this feels in my hand. This is going to be the same thing, just heavier and with a different finish. Let's talk MicroFinish now versus SoftFinish. What's going on with SoftFinish? Well, as a refresher for you, these are soft, as the name would imply. They're almost more of like a rubbery, supple, soft. It's not like you sink your hand into it like a Felo Ergonix or something, but very pleasant, very light in comparison with this, which is stylized with two things. Number one, you can get this driver with just a hex bolster, or if you option it out with a striking cap and the hex bolster, it becomes their top of the line heavy duty. Okay, so I should have let me do this for you. So kind of right here. Okay, note hex bolster with no striking cap. So keep that in mind. That's sort of the way Wiha does their series of drivers. You've got standard, heavy duty, or extra heavy duty, which is what this whole 5-piece set is. Why is it extra heavy duty? Bolster, striking cap. Has nothing to do with the MicroFinish. You can get, just like we did the foam tray that's now at work, the red drivers in SoftFinish with the bolster and the cap. That's extra heavy duty. SoftFinish, this is extra heavy duty MicroFinish. Back to the MicroFinish though, this is designed with one thing in mind, and that is oil, chemical, grease, anything. It's designed to be resistant to it. Now, that's one of the reasons this was the demo set. It's not one of the reasons I don't have the SoftFinish hanging on the cart over there. I wanted to play around with that where I'm more likely to have nasty hands, right? At work, my nut drivers, I went Wiha instead of Klein because Klein nut drivers are everywhere. That makes mine easier to figure out, right? Here we have yellow. Ooh, I think the rain's here. I've got the yellow Wihas because, again, they're older. They used to do yellow SAE, red metric. The set that I bought to take to work is newer, so it's branded like this, but it's red. SAE or metric, they're red. The one place I think Wiha missed the mark with the nut drivers is only offering them in the SoftFinish. I would have bought my set of nut drivers for work in MicroFinish. Depending on what you do, if you're doing a virgin build, you got to think outside automotive, go industrial, other industries, if you will. This is perfect for greasy, nasty stuff, okay? The SoftFinish is perfect for clean stuff. That doesn't have to be in automotive terms. You think of interior nut driver and engine bay nut driver, right? So in industry, it's the same way. If you've got a brand new virgin build with clean components, never out in the field, never run, nothing wrong, literally all brand new, you could run SoftFinish. If they're coming back for repair, depending on what you do there, or if you've just got nasty stuff going through the line, you might prefer the MicroFinish. That said, I have absolutely, it's the 3/8. The 3/8 nut driver sees the most use by far out of any of my nut drivers at work, and it's because of two clamps I constantly have to screw around with, quite literally. And my hand is always covered in hydraulic oil, okay, like every time. I've got multiple pictures that I take that I never have time to post to Instagram, and I just showcase how nasty the handle gets. It has yet to deteriorate or degrade. Now, that said, it's never covered like that for more than, say, 15 to 20 minutes. And then if I'm interrupted and have to come back to it type of a thing, you approach the 15-20 minute mark. Otherwise, it's like 5 to 10-ish to give me time to take them down, pull everything off, reassemble, put it back together. And then I come in and I wipe everything down, right? So the Witte, right here, I was really excited about demoing these suckers. I've got a set of these at work, if you recall, and the first time I used these, I was like, yep, I'm one of the reasons, again, I was like, they look fantastic, but it's dirty, it's nasty, it's designed with these, pads to sort of accomplish the same thing as the MicroFinish. I think it does help. The problem is, having never used those and had like filthy hands, here's what happened. I come in and like the tool is covered in oil. My hand is covered in oil, so I wipe my hand off. And then the tool is still covered in oil and I want to wipe the tool off. So what I have at work is red shop rags, right? It's what we've always had. It's what we'll probably always continue to have. I came in, and it's not like this was like excessively. It's not like I dunked it in oil or something, but it had oil, just where my hand had transferred it. I innocently threw the red rag over it, wiped it down just like I do the nut driver, type of a thing. Every little bit of these pads picked up red. That was right after, the day after I took these to work. Okay. This particular driver is still covered in the red. So what that makes me leery of is actually using them in the intended application Because if you get them on those pads, it just lifts the red lint off, and you think, oh, we'll take it off. I don't have that kind of time. Like, that's a tedious fool's errand. All right. The great thing about the Wiha SoftFinish nut driver, it gets covered, and I do the same thing. I throw the rag and I wipe it down, and there's not the lint like I have there. So that is something to think about. I didn't know that was going to happen until I did it. Now I still use that same driver. The flathead is sort of in tandem with a 3/8 nut driver, but the catch is, I'm like very intentional. I take the red rag and I sort of trace between those landing pads. I wish I had this stuff here at home to show me. It would make way more sense to you. But what I'm getting at is, this is not intended, the red soft finish, for what I'm subjecting it to. However, I don't have the option of buying this MicroFinish to utilize on the nut driver. I think they need to add that to the nut driver line. It would be a fairly simple thing to do. To be fair though, the SoftFinish is yet to break down. Maybe they do really well with hydraulic oil. Maybe since I'm getting it off, within 10-20 minutes pretty much every time, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe if I got called away at the end of the day and it just got left there, I'd come back in the morning and it might have chewed it up some. I don't know. It can't be great for it, but it's certainly not tearing it up. So right here, I would love to see that on the nut drivers for that reason. But these handles were selected to be demoed out here for that same reason. So when you think MicroFinish, most people think of microfiber, okay? And you think sort of like the ergonics crossed with that little pad on the Witte. This is hard to explain unless you've seen it, but think of this as almost like if you look at it, if you really, really look at it, the black. See how it almost looks like I've dropped this in the sand? This is like a beautifully finished piece or something, and we just dropped it. If you took a cinnamon roll that was fresh out of the oven and you happen to have the oven on the beach, okay, and you drop the cinnamon roll, you could pick it up, and then the bottom is just going to have absorbed sand. It's like, oh, I can't get this stuff off. That's what this looks like in the camera here, especially with the white backdrop. But that's what it feels like. And it's not an objectionable feel. It's almost like a tactile feel, where if my hand was covered in hydraulic oil, this is what I would rather spin, right? It's just kind of offsets it. These do clean up very well as well, something I've noticed, but that is where they shine. That is what the difference is. Some of you may prefer this just because. Some of you will hate this and go soft finish on everything. And if it just chews the handle up, whatever chemicals you're dealing with, or they get on the driver, you'll buy another one. I would encourage you, especially when you buy direct from Wiha, maybe you're getting yourself a 5-piece soft finish to replace your workhorse set from 10 years ago or something. Buy one of these, and that's the beauty. You can get one. You don't have to buy a 5-piece set and anything crazy. You can just get one driver. Pick your most frequently used size. Pick a giant slotted that you have evil sinister demo plans for, and that will let you try this to know if you want to commit to a set like this. So outside of the ergonomic advantages and everything, I think we've kind of covered this. The set contents here: 3 slotted 2 Phillips, again a 5.5. Let's see here, this is the big one. This would be an 8.0, and I want to say, oh, okay, didn't see this. This would be a 6.5. So 5.5, 6.5, and 8. That's pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. You can use it pretty much anything standard. Dropping down, the 4.5 or 4.0 would be good. Maybe you need something smaller. Again, purchase accordingly. Bigger, you get into your 10 and your 12. Again, you kind of know if you use those sorts of sizes. The number 1 and number 2, again, here's your number 1 Phillips. If you're curious what that's going to look like. You don't get a number 3 here. Again, they do make bigger sets, but these are simply going to be kind of a complement to this set. And there is a big reason why I bought these, and that's because there's currently a promotion, which if you buy it, you get 2 things free. One of them is a sticker, and one of them is a shirt. That's what we have here. So, my previous Wiha orders, to be totally honest, I pretty confident I never got a sticker, maybe like when they had a special promotion, but certainly nothing like this, so that's cool. I do wish they had a series of these. Like if you buy the MicroFinish, you get like a purple one. If you buy SoftFinish, you get a red one. If you buy ESD, you get yellow. Just small little things, you know. They spend a little money on the back end, but I think the customers would appreciate it, right? Or some of them would. And of course, you offset your cost there by selling it individually, which if you see all this and you're like, oh wait, you never covered a price on these. These aren't cheap drivers. These are pretty expensive drivers. In fact, they're the most expensive Wiha makes. 5-piece set currently on sale. You're looking at like 93-ish. 18 bucks a driver. You're getting up there. That said, you got to realize hex bolster, striking cap, MicroFinish. Those are your three things to set this apart. If you're like, man, I really want that t-shirt for free, but I don't want to spend that kind of money, here's what you can do. They've got a 2-piece set of SoftFinish drivers, I think slotted in Phillips, for like 40 bucks, roughly $20 a driver. That gets you this. There's multiple ways to get this free shirt, and if you just like, man, that really sucks, I just bought a set of MicroFinish, the big 10-piece set, there's nothing I need, you know, the stuff I need isn't available with the promotion. This is available standalone for like 17 bucks. So t-shirt, sticker, comes together packaged, $17. Can't go wrong there either. I will tell you though, if you do this, if you're like, you know what, that 5-piece set, I'd use every single one of those, 1 and 2 Phillips, 3 basic slotted, I'm getting it. If you do that, buy yourself something else. Get a SoftFinish. Get a SoftFinish heavy duty to compare. Get an extra heavy duty SoftFinish to compare. Get a size that complements this in any handle style you want. And the reason I tell you that, this 93 bucks is so terribly close to free freight. I think Wiha's threshold is $99. It's not like exactly 100 if I recall. But when you put these in your cart, it's going to tell you to add like $7 whatever, you know, to your cart and get free freight. So anything in that like 7 to 10 range or a little higher should get you your free freight. That way you've got something to show for it instead of paying more than that than freight. Like I would rather have this driver right here for $9 than I'd rather pay $14 in freight. Kind of follow my drift. I preach this because I personally practice it. You should know that by now if you watch the videos. But I'll get you the drivers. It'll get you this. I think this is a limited time deal. The problem is I don't know how limited, so I may have to expedite this thing. And that's what I got for you. So I'm going to check the weather out here. Probably hope I can get some other stuff done in the shop. And then hopefully spend all day out here tomorrow. But, we took you through a little crash course on Wiha drivers, the MicroFinish, the SoftFinish, heavy duty versus extra heavy duty versus standard. Where we're at, like, you know, with a little demo set over here that I've been using for quite some time in the shop. Updates on the work sets. It's about all I could offer you at this point in time. So this though is super, super cool. And like I said, it is limited as best I know. And it's not a bad price, really. 17 bucks standalone. Like I said, if you just within the last 2-3 months fitted out your screwdrivers with Wiha stuff, I totally understand. But look at that. That is sweet. So this is, again, is the exact logo on the t-shirt. I think they've got like 2 employees, some dude and a chick that kind of designed it. I think they did pretty good. And, I like it. But again, exact same logo on the t-shirt here. So the sticker I don't think is available outside of purchase with the t-shirt, so that might be a buzzkill for some of you. But again, multiple ways to get this in your inventory, on your toolbox, your sticker board, whatever you may have. So with that said, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed, maybe learned a little something, maybe got some ideas. Maybe you have, you know, these sets and they're beat up, you know, pretty bad, and you're like, you know what, I really like that new branding. It might be that simple type of a thing. But they are excellent screwdrivers. They're a really, really good heavy duty driver set as well. You can't argue with free stuff, so do with it what you will. With that said, your thoughts and opinions always appreciated. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below. LoneStarMopars.com is a website. You can find us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. With that said, if you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. If you do that, you jump your Charger across the creek while wielding your brand new extra heavy duty t-shirt from Wiha. YouTube just might notify you that we got new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. We literally were like 2 seconds away there, and I knew it was going to time out. So, yeah. Most important thing, though, again, let me know what you think of these drivers, what you plan to pick up or did pick up. What do you think of the promo and the design here? Do you want to see more stuff like that? Do you agree with me on MicroFInish nut drivers? Again, I think that would personally be awesome. I'd still understand some people might want like the SoftFinish for clean stuff, but nasty things like I'm doing with that 3/8, I wish it was MicroFInish. So anything you want to talk about, feel free. Most important thing, though, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop. All right, I played around here and got a bonus content for you. So we pan out. Boom. There's the old set kind of hanging out. I may very well have a larger slotted. I just don't know where it's at. I think I had a Phillips 3 too. But anyway, boom. New set, extra heavy duty. They actually all fit. This is even slotted, Phillips. So if you were worried like the number 2 Phillips wouldn't fit there, boom. Absolute beauty. And then of course, we've got the special sticker.